We're speaking with Dr. Humberto Benítez, who is the new president of the American International College in Springfield. And among the things that we have read about AIC is Dr. Benítez's a commitment to bring more people, more students into the college. Dr. Benítez, given how there's been a decline in student enrollment, how can the college mitigate that, if at all?
Thank you, Natalia, for the question. And you are correct. Colleges and universities across the nation have seen an impact on their enrollment numbers, and it goes and extends to private and public, big and small institutions. So it's not unique to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's not unique to the Northeast. It's a nationwide trend. Second, and very importantly, is that the pandemic did not help. So the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, actually impacted heavily all academic institutions in many ways. Enrollments is one of them. So what I believe needs to be done, it is the approach that American International College is taking, is truly relooking at how it provides or creates what we call a value proposition to students, right? Why come to AIC? There is, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, there's many institutions of higher education around the Springfield, Holyoke area. There's a lot of institutions. So why select AIC? Why elect AIC? So we have taken a very deep look at our institution, and we started with something that is very simple. Let's assess what we have been doing. Let's evaluate what we have been doing. Let's capitalize on two things: the history of the institution, the legacy of the institution. Let's build on what we are doing well, and let's improve where we can improve. So in the past 6 months, Natalia, we spent a significant amount of time looking at AIC, and we have just launched what we call AIC Reimagined. So it's a reimagination of AIC as an institution of higher learning that includes a very deep, comprehensive look at its academic portfolio, at its processes, and at its practices. So we are creating a brand new vision for the institution, not a president's vision, a shared vision of how do we take this institution that is a pillar of the city of Springfield and move it to new heights. So let me tell you what we are doing. We're taking a multifactorial approach. First, value proposition. Why come to AIC? What is it that we're offering students in AIC that would entice them to come? So first, our values. Capitalizing truly on our values. We have 5 core values of AIC: access, opportunity, diversity, community, and belonging. We are creating an infrastructure at AIC where students from all facets of life feel that they can come at AIC and feel that they belong. It may sound like not an important aspect, but it is a critical aspect of truly attracting students. Students that arrive at AIC feel that they belong. And our student base is extremely diverse: gender, ethnic, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic background, faith, sexual orientation. So our diversity is very broad. So we're creating an infrastructure where every single student feels that they belong. That's number 1. Number 2, opening pathways and pipelines. How do we work with community colleges, with school systems, and with international audiences to create pathways for a seamless transition into AIC? We're not competing with HCC or with STIC for their student. We want to serve their graduate. So how do we create that seamless transition so students can arrive to AIC in a very easy way where we accept their credits and engage them in completing their baccalaureate level degree? As it relates to international audiences, we're taking a very strategic approach. We have just signed, Natalia, a couple of memorandum of agreements with international organizations
Mhm.
that have shared values and shared goals. For example, we signed one with St. Paul's University in the Philippines, a
Mhm.
second one with Universidad Andrés Bello, a major university in Santiago de Chile, and a third one that it's already signed with Universidad Católica in El Salvador. We're looking at creating partnership agreements with universities in Morocco and universities in Egypt. So as you can see, we're taking a very strategic approach. And why those institutions? Because they have shared values and shared goals, intercultural engagement, intercultural awareness, creating joint programs, creating opportunities for faculty exchange, for student exchange, and very importantly, for multicultural awareness and student mobility. So we are taking a multifactorial approach, Natalia, to the declining student enrollment issue in higher education. We cannot approach it just by looking at one factor. It has to be multifactorial, and that's what we're doing at AIC.
Dr. Benitez, given how it seems like it's become much more difficult for people from other countries to come into the United States, to immigrate to the United States, whether for work or to study. Has AIC encountered, or does AIC help with that paperwork for people from other countries to come to the college?
We do, Natalia, and we have individuals that are charged with facilitating the process of gathering the students' paperwork, documentation, and guiding them through the process. Natalia, I can tell you that is true to my heart because I am an immigrant myself. So I've been there, I've done that. My father was an immigrant himself. He did that, he went through that path. So that to me is very personal. And we are taking a very sensitive and proactive approach on how do we serve the student? Because it's not about engaging the student, it's how do you facilitate the arrival of the student, right? How do you facilitate the arrival? How do you facilitate the entrance? But then when they're here, make sure that you create an environment where they can succeed, because it's not about bringing a student, it's about bringing a student and making them, help them through their educational journey so they become successful in life. We really want a positive career outcome to every single one of our students.
What programs or what's been added to the curriculum, or what is being, or if you, I realize you just arrived, but what efforts are underway to maybe expand what students can study at AIC?
Oh, many efforts. And I'm glad you're asking that, because one of the 6 fundamental pillars of AIC Reimagine is the academic pillar. And we have used the word revitalize. We are taking a complete relook at the academic portfolio of AIC. We're going to expand programs in areas where we believe we have an opportunity to expand. We're going to expand geographic reach of existing programs, and we are going to focus heavily, Natalia, on what we believe are the workforce needs of not only the Springfield area, but the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and of this region. We have to be responsive to what employers are looking for. So we have taken a very active and proactive approach to meeting with business leaders, asking the business leaders, what is it that you're looking in a graduate? And they, today academic programs have to be very custom tailored, if you will. Students want to get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And that skill set bubbles up into an academic program that we may not have, but we are looking at how do we develop those programs that will truly fulfill the skill set needed in the current academic workforce. There are some areas that with no question are in high need. Healthcare professions. There's a huge need in the healthcare professions, and AIC has a significant presence in the healthcare arena. We have nursing, we have occupational therapy, we have physical therapy, we have exercise science. So we're looking at what is the breadth and scope of our healthcare offerings that we can look into expanding into new markets. So we're looking into that. We are revitalizing what the arts at AIC looks like. So we're looking at the graphic arts, at the graphic design, at the theater program, because arts for us, being founded as a liberal arts and sciences educational institution, is important to us. So we're looking at how do we revitalize the arts. We truly believe in the value of the arts and for the future, but we're really focusing on something, Natalia, which is career outcomes. We want to make sure that every student that graduates from AIC understands what their potential career outcome is, even if they major in English, if they major in biology. Because if you major in nursing, you are, and most likely you're going to practice as a nurse. But then if you major in disciplines like English, well, what's the potential career outcome? If you major in psychology, what are your options? We are currently already working on focusing on what those career outcomes are going to be for our students at AIC.
Dr. Benítez, because you know so well that there's forever, time immemorial, well, I think maybe since at least the 70s, there's been this question of how valuable is a 4-year degree in terms of finding a job. And that's what you've been talking about. And just like English, what do you do with an English degree? There are lots of different things you can do with it. How do you address that at AIC?
Absolutely, Natalia. And today, students and parents alike still question the value of a degree, question the value of a degree. I have one fundamental premise to every single student of every facet of life. Education matters. Education is the pathway to a successful future. Some students say to me, yeah, but what about those that drop college and become multimillionaires? Well, Mark Zuckerberg, there's one of them. Steve Jobs, there's only one of them. And there's 2 or 3 of them but the reality is that it has been proven that the higher the degree you get, the higher the earning capacity that you will have over time. And for degrees that come from the liberal arts education, well, there's also research that document that students typically may change jobs between 5 and 7 times during their academic career. So that fundamental liberal arts and sciences is preparing students for a career in their life, not for just one profession, but for a career in the future. So we truly believe in the value of an education. We talk about it with students, we talk about it with parents, but we also are sensitive to the fact that students do not want to incur debt. The reality is we have a robust scholarship program. Students are eligible for grants, but education is an investment, like you do everything in life, Natalia. And we make sure that we convey that message. It's not an expense, it's an investment in your future, because it has been proven that education, and at least on my personal side, I make a point to make sure to say to parents, education is the pathway.
And finally, Dr. Benítez, in your time as in education, as an administrator, can you share with us a couple of lessons that you've learned that when you first started, you thought this and that, but your experience has taught you something different? Like, what have you learned? A couple of, I know you've learned a lot, just a couple of examples.
This is a great question, and I love because it's philosophical and it's innate to me. So the first thing I've learned, it's not where you start, it's how you end. That's the first thing that is important. I convey that to students because, for example, I started my career, Natalia, as a clinician. My first doctorate degree is in dentistry, and I did practice dentistry, and I ended up being a college and university president. When I went to dental school, I would have never dreamed about becoming a college president. So that's the first thing. It's not where you start, it's where you end. The second thing I've learned, it's critically important for me, the value of mentorship. Finding the right mentor, making sure that you ask the questions, that you are inquiring, that you're always asking and trying to learn. I found in my life a mentor that changed my life. One person changed my life. He showed me the value and the worth and the roadmap to a career in higher education. And here I am. One person changed my life. And the third thing that I've learned is that you have to be very intentional in your actions and you have to work with passion. I truly believe that people with passion make things happen. I focus on people, because I truly believe that you focus on people, everything will fall into place, but you have to be very intentional. In my case, I have been very intentional about my work related to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. As a person that comes from a father that was a first-generation student, that I'm Hispanic, Latino, proud Latino, an immigrant, I believe that it is my obligation to create pipelines and pathways for students that come from underrepresented minority backgrounds into education. If I don't do it, then who's going to do it for them? And you have to do it with passion, very intentional. Those are, I would say those are the 3 or 4 primary things I have focused on my life and learned through my academic career.